Okay.
Okay, perfect. So we start with the sadhana. Make yourselves comfortable. And, so it's always good to, even if it's just a sadhana or whatever, it's always good to work on your posture, because the mind becomes much clearer when the back is straight and you're sitting in a totally relaxed way. So then also before we do the purification, I always have people move a little bit, so for the purification they can sit comfortably, and also at the end when we do the absorption into emptiness. So it's okay to move from time to time when you feel that there's pain coming, but not just because, it's just a sadhana, and then you look around and you move and this and that. Take it as a meditation, because then also the mind gets the benefit when the body sits still. So like we did yesterday at the beginning, we will read these verses of the Lam Rim, of the graduated path, because this is what we want to realize. This is what we're asking Tara to protect us from hindrances, to realize these things that we're supposed to realize, either in the Lam Rim or in, the precious garland of Kampopa, or the perfect words of my teacher. They all kind of go in the same directions here. We have to make steps one by one. And then this will become really beneficial. I take refuge in the Holy Guru, the essence of all Buddhas, the original grandeur of all holy teachings and Lord of all supreme beings. Please, O Guru Buddhas, enable me to unify my mind with the Dharma and to succeed in practicing Dharma for receiving this graduated path. May nothing prevent from my receiving this path. Again, it's a very happy feeling that we are on this path. Or at least that we are interested. So actually you enter the path when you have perfect renunciation. So I think we still have to work on this by becoming aware that, now we're human beings, we accept that we're going to die one day, we accept that we're going to reborn, but somehow we have this a little bit unrealistic feeling that, next time I will be human again. So we don't know. So we need to think about refuge, we need to think about karma, we need to think about suffering in the lower state. So that's the lower scope. To make sure that we're not ending up there, and at the time of death, we can remember our Dharma practice, we can visualize Tara, we can connect with the Guru's mind, and so on. It's really good to, in all your Dharma practices, that you include the thought, this will be helpful at the time of death. Please bless me to take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha with all my heart, and to practice virtue and abandon non-virtue by realizing that I have received the perfect human rebirth, which is highly meaningful, for many reasons, difficult to obtain but perishable, transient and fragile, decaying in the shortest second because of its changeable nature. Thus, my death is definite, but its actual time is most indefinite. Karma is most profound. Even in 1 hour, I create more negative karma, bringing rebirth in the lower suffering realms than positive. Even the smallest negative action has so many suffering results. And the ability of karma created to bring its results is never lost, even after more eons than the ordinary mind can imagine, unless it is purified consciously. And the suffering of the 3 lower realms are very unimaginably unbearable. So not just, to have compassion for the beings in the lower states, but to be quite sure I have to be careful of my actions of body, speech, and mind. Whatever I've already created, I have to purify. Because if my mind is in a difficult, tense state when I die, and I don't remember my guru, and I don't remember my practice, one of these negative imprints will ripen, and I will end up in a lower state. And there's no way I will be able to practice there. take it into consideration that we could be reborn there, but to be quite sure this is not where I want to go. Because why? Because I cannot practice there. I cannot be of benefit. And I cannot continue with this path to full awakening. These thoughts close the doors to the lower states. And we have to train them already now. They have to come spontaneously, effortlessly at the time of death. Then the middle scope. By practicing in this way, I might be reborn in the upper realms, but I will still have to experience unlimited samsaric suffering because of uncontrolled delusion and karma. Please bestow on me the ability to realize fully the evolution of samsara from uncontrolled rebirth to death and rebirth, so that I shall follow night and day the threefold training of the path, supreme conduct, supreme concentration, and supreme wisdom, the main method to release me from samsara. So it's a training, and training means we have to train. Not just think about it, but to train in ethical conduct. When we don't succeed, we try again. We have to train in concentration. We don't succeed, we keep trying. We have to train in wisdom. We don't succeed, we keep trying. And for that, instead of thinking that our life is so pleasant and so wonderful, which it is compared with others, now we're thinking the other way, but it's still dangerous. Suffering can explode any moment. I only need the conditions to change. And I think we have understood with the COVID. I'm sick and tired to be under the control of my unhelpful emotions and wrong views of grasping at the really self-existent I. We have to be fed up, not with the outer conditions, but with the causes. That's what we have to renounce. Then bodhicitta. But as each sentient being has been my mother, and as all are in extreme suffering, please grant me blessings to bring success to all by renouncing the perfect self-happiness of nirvana and practicing the bodhisattva's deeds with bodhicitta, exchanging myself with others on the basis of the equanimity meditation. So again, bodhicitta is actually quite simple. In a way, we don't have to choose. We're constantly choosing. This one I like, this one I don't, this one's not interesting. But we don't have to do this anymore. All beings I want to liberate from suffering and the causes of suffering. It's very simple, very straightforward. Thus I shall have no sorrow experiencing the samsaric sufferings of all other sentient beings, for no matter how long, having trained my mind in the general path. So then now again, try to feel that compassion, this urge, wanting to help somebody, and we feel that if I am in this condition that I am as an ordinary human being, I can't really help them. So it's good to feel it when you think about somebody who is in extreme suffering, be it body, be it mental, be it like financial, be it whatever, And we feel this urge, this wish to help him or her, but we don't know how. Then when we feel that, we extend it towards all sentient beings. It's a feeling that hurts, as Chogyam Trungpa says, compassion hurts. It's the sore spot in your heart. You touch it, it hurts. But we have the courage to touch it, not to look away, to take responsibility and to practice the path to full awakening. Then when that urge is, when you feel it and it's really strong, then we're ready for tantric practice. Please grant me blessings to be able to follow the quick Vajrayana teachings by feeling sentient beings' sufferings very unimaginably unbearable for even the shortest second as my own, and to attain the enlightened state of Aryatara immediately at this very moment by keeping my ordinations and the orders of the Guru with greater and better care than anything else in my life, for the sole purpose of enlightening all sentient beings. Now the visualization, we do like we did yesterday. I give you just a picture, or if you have a picture of Tara, or, so you work on this like 5 minutes, because it's your mind who needs to be able to create Tara, not just listening to what I'm saying, but for you to remember how she looks. I'll make her a little bit bigger. There, but you're very welcome to take your own image, or you can even think, like, how does Tara look for me? Let the spontaneous image arise. So the symbolism we talked about yesterday, all of you know, sometimes good to remember what it means, but the main thing is that it's not just an image that is there. It's a fully awakened being who accepts me the way I am, and who is ready to help me in whatever way I allow her to help me. It all depends on me. She, from her side, no limitations, no conditions. Try to feel the presence of this awakened, motherly energy in the space in front of you, and feel protected, loved, seen, accepted. It's a living being, 3-dimensional, moving, body of light who doesn't need any care, but who has all the qualities that she needs in order to benefit me and all other sentient beings. And you can see this image as your future result of this practice. So you don't make her separate from your mind. And then when you hold the image, or when you look at the image on the screen, then check what kind of sensations you have in your heart. Not manipulating, just check. It could be that these images of the Buddhas, the deities, are too far away, so they don't invoke joy, feeling seen, feeling accepted, feeling protected, feeling understood. So this is why we always think that this Tara is my Guru. So then you visualize your Guru in the form that you know him or her, or if they are not in that form anymore, the way you remember. And then just thinking about the Guru, visualizing the Guru comes very easy, isn't it? It comes very quickly. No need to go, bit by bit. And then check your heart. Is it the same as when you visualize Tara? Or is it different? Again, we're just looking, we're not manipulating anything. And then we can reflect, what would happen if I do these visualizations with the colors coming into me, purifying? What would happen if I do this with the form of the Guru in his ordinary human form? Would it work just as well? Would I understand that he is actually a Buddha? Or is it better to visualize the Buddha as, the Guru as Tara? Where it's easier for us to think that the purification is actually taking place. So this is why we need both. The Guru is sometimes too ordinary, too close, too near. Tara, too far away. So then this image of your Guru, you let it absorb or dissolve into the image of green Tara, knowing that it's just different in appearance and different in functions also. The Guru is there to give us direct instructions. Tara is there to kind of give us a basis that we can visualize ourselves as a Buddha. It would be difficult to visualize yourself in the form of your Guru. It's very easy to visualize ourselves in that light body made of light, of a deity. But they're not separate. Tara is the Guru is Tara. At this very moment. But the Guru can also be Amitabha, can be Medicine Buddha, can be Chandresik, Yamata, Kamal, Kala, whatever. So never forget, it's not some strange figure there. What is in front of you is your Guru in the form, manifesting in the form of Arya Tara, to serve as an inspiration and the basis for us to become Tara. Okay, then we take refuge with a lot of trust that these methods are going to bring us where we want to go, to full awakening, and with being fed up with samsara. So we do twice in English, once in Tibetan. Can you see the text? Okay, great. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation of merits of practicing generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation of merits of practicing generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodan soki chonam la chancho bardo dani kyapso chi dagi chinsaki personam gi drola penchi sangye jupasho. Then we open our hearts and we think of all mother sentient beings that have all been kind to us in one of our billions and trillions of lifetimes without beginning. So we definitely have a connection with each of them. Now we take responsibility, not just a nice wish for them to be happy, but I want to be able to contribute to that. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness and the wish. May I lead them to that state. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering by giving them instructions like the Guru is giving me now to make them practice. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that is free from suffering, not just giving them temporarily happiness, lasting happiness of liberation and full awakening. And may all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from desire for friends and hatred for enemies. So we see that we're not quite there. So we're asking Tara, please, Mother Tara, inspire me to be able to do this. And 7-limb practice to purify negative karma, create a lot of merit that we need on this path. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. I present every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. These remain until the end of cyclic existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment. And we offered perfect universe, this ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Then we give away everything that is a hindrance for being able to manifest the pure land, and we give it away with any sense of loss. The object of my attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, and strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments, without any sense of loss or fear, I offer this collection. Please accept it with pleasure and bless me with freedom from the 3 poisons. Nidam Guru Ranna Mandalakam Niryatayami. Okay, so now you can stretch and move a bit so that you sit comfortably. You can even stand up if you need to, so that you feel comfortable for the purification. Settle down again, and then you visualize. So first, Tara sends powerful, blissful white light from the Om at her brow chakra, which enters your brow chakra completely and fills you. You imagine that all your problems and sufferings and heaviness and grossness of your body are purified by this light. And all the harm you have ever done to any living being with this body and all your infinite past bodies is also purified, eradicated completely, not one atom left. So the white light is Vairochana from the 5 Buddha families, purifies our contaminated aggregate of form into the Vairochana family. And it also works with anger. And so it purifies, takes away the sting of the anger and transforms it into the mirror-like wisdom. The negativities leave your body through your lower doors in whatever form you find appropriate. And of course, it purifies the negativities we created with the body, like killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, and also luckily purifies the tendencies to do that. So your body becomes a body of light, fills with this white light. And you think now my body is just like Tara's body. Nothing solid, nothing concrete, indestructible. The Sambhogakaya. A body of light who doesn't need any care. Born out of compassion and wisdom. Indestructible, it will not die. Then you visualize red light from the at her throat chakra, which purifies all the problems of your speech, inappropriate speech, useless speech, the inability to express yourself appropriately, and all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your speech of this life and in infinite past lives is totally purified, eradicated by this blissful red light who enters your throat chakra. Not one atom is left. So the red light symbolizes the Amitabha family from the 5 Buddha families, our impure aggregate of discrimination is transformed into the Amitabha family, and attachment, desire, greed is transformed into the wisdom of discrimination. Negativities through the speech of lying, divisive speech, harsh words, and gossip are leaving the body through your upper doors. Again, in whatever form you seem it is appropriate. How do these negativities of the speech look if they would have form? Leaving and dissolving into the space, not harming anybody. And your body is filled with this very bright red light. And you feel totally full of all the blissful, perfect, compassionate, wisdom, appropriate speech of Lama Tara, such that whatever sound you utter is necessarily beneficial to any living being who hears it, all of which is your potential. And feel filled with this powerful energy. Speech is very powerful, and very often we don't use it in the right way, that it brings harmony, trust, happiness, people feeling secure, accepted. Tara's speech only benefited. Then Tara sends powerful beams of dark blue light from the blue hung at her heart chakra, which enters your heart chakra. Imagine that all the unhappiness of your mind, your confusion, arrogance, anger, jealousy, pride, resentment, hurt, anxiety, self-hate, whatever, is all totally purified, and that all your delusions, including the root ego grasping, which are the cause of your own suffering and why you harm others, is totally eradicated by the powerful blue light, not one atom left. So the blue light symbolizes from the 5 Buddha families, Akshobhya, transforms our impure or contaminated aggregate of consciousness into the Akshobhya family. And of course has to do with wrong views and ignorance. And that gets transformed into the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu, the wisdom of the sphere of suchness. And this time, the darkness doesn't go anywhere, or the negativities, because they don't exist from their own side. I think it's just like when you switch on a light in a dark room, darkness doesn't go anywhere, just not there anymore. Or you can think that this very strong ego grasping is like a concrete ball around our wonderful, beautiful Buddha nature. And when the blue light hits it, it shatters that concrete, hard, black stuff ball, and it just dissolves. Or it's a telephone ringing here, but I don't have to answer it. Don't get distracted. See how the blue light kind of dissolves, absorbs, eradicates all wrong views, all ignorance. And you feel totally filled with this blissful, omniscient, compassionate mind of Lama Tara, which is your potential, and the body now is filled with this bright blue light. Then you visualize the Tara sends powerful laser beams of yellow light from the yellow sva at your navel chakra, and that penetrates your navel chakra, filling you completely. It purifies totally all your hopelessness, powerlessness, inability to act effectively, all this blocked energy. So yellow transforms it transforms our contaminated aggregate of feelings or sensations into the Ratnasambhava family, and arrogance and miserliness gets transformed into the wisdom of equality, like pleasant and unpleasant. Both of them are of the same nature. They are dependent on causes and conditions, are impermanent, subject to change, totally empty from their own side of being good or bad, but are bound to suffering if we don't understand this. So the wisdom of equality understands all this. You're filled with this yellow light, and you feel how it fills you with power, the ability to act effortlessly, to do what needs to be done with wisdom and compassion for the benefit of all living beings. When you visualize that Tara sends powerful beams of green light from the green Ha at her secret chakra that penetrate your sexual chakra, filling you completely. Imagine that it totally purifies all your out of control, unhappy attachment energy, all the yearning, the desire, which makes you miserable and unclear and unsatisfied, not one atom left. So that transforms the contaminated aggregate of compositional factors into the Amoghasiddhi family, and envy and jealousy are purified or transformed into the all-accomplishing wisdom who now spontaneously acts. That's why it's green. Green represents the actions of an enlightened mind, represents the wind, very swift, very flexible, very quick. All your tendencies of feeling jealous, envious, totally eliminated, eradicated. Body is filled with this bright green light. And you feel how everything is completely transformed into energy, complete bliss, satisfaction, contentment, fulfillment, happiness, and pleasure. But not just for you. And all of this is to benefit others. Then you visualize all the 5 lights coming from Tara's 5 chakras, simultaneously penetrating your 5 chakras, this time feeling that even the subtle stains of all delusions are totally eradicated, not one atom left, and feel very blissful. So now you can start taking on the features of Arya Tara, the way she sits, what she wears, or what you are wearing, what you are sitting, how you are sitting in your heart, a moon disc, on top of it, syllable Tam, around it, the letters of the mantra. And you feel totally oneness with the energy of Mother Tara, which is not easy because letting go of who and what we are as an ordinary being, we have been rehearsing that since beginningless lifetimes, that we are ordinary, separate from all the others. So in order to help us with that, Tara, out of her compassion, trying to help us to feel like being Tara, becoming Tara, she comes to your crown, facing the same way as you face. Like before, she was looking at you. Then the lotus absorbs into her. She, from above and below, like breath on a mirror, melts into a small ball of very bright green light. And this, through your central channel, the crown chakra, central channel, absorbs into your heart chakra, where she merges with your subtle consciousness, your clear light mind. And again, we don't forget, this is my guru now, as Mother Tara absorbing into me, so I don't have a separate Mother Tara in my heart. I am Mother Tara, with all the qualities. Tara's mind, the Guru's mind, my mind, same thing. Like drops of water kind of merging with each other, cannot be separated. Don't force anything, don't manipulate anything. I know it's difficult to get the feeling for that, but we're just training. And the more we train, the more we get a feeling. So don't get frustrated. Don't become intellectual here. It's very simple. My mind, the Guru's mind, Tara's mind, totally the same. We let go of a separate ego, a separate I who comes up with all these concepts. What is this? Why is that? I don't understand. No. The sensations that you will get, they have to come spontaneously. Not from the mind, but from the heart, from the subtle mind. Not from the intellect. Just be there with this conviction, I am Tara. My mind, the Guru's mind, Tara's mind, totally the same. Then as a Buddha, of course, the purpose of being a Buddha, la raison d'être, the French would say, the reason to be is solely to benefit others. So we have to think about them. So you visualize them in space in front of you, behind you, left, right, above and below, in the south, in the east, in the north, in the west. We're constantly surrounded by numerous living beings. We're just not aware of it, but they're always there. And now we have the ability to be able to lead them to the same state, to become Aryatara. Again, because our confidence is lacking, so what happens first? From the syllable tam and the mantra in my heart, light rays are going out and hooking back all the energies of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So then we remember the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like the sentient beings, they're always there. We are never alone. And they're always there to help us. So now, when the light is going out from our heart, it hooks back, it brings back all the enlightened energy of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It's a bit like absorbing the wisdom beings. And now we nourish our potential, our trust that we can lead beings to that state and all beings. So then as we recite the mantra, you visualize that first from the tongue and the mantra in your heart again, it fills your whole body with this very bright explosion of light almost. Then you can imagine, of course, you have a light body, so you don't have pores, but it's kind of a nice thought. Out through all your pores, the light is coming out. It's radiating out like the sun. The light is going in all the directions without having to think, oh, which direction should it go? So of course, you can first take the beings that you hold very dear at heart. You send the light to them, they transform into Aryatara. But then you don't forget all the other sentient beings. So since the light is going in all directions, the moment that it touches them, it liberates them from suffering and the causes of suffering, and they then transform into Aryatara. Om Tare Tu Re Soa. 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 So as much as possible, put effort into staying with the visualization. You can be very creative here, as if you would be helping numerous sentient beings. You need to concentrate, you need to know what you're doing. So see what you're doing, see that this is happening. And again, have a very happy feeling knowing that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is asking people to do green Tara practice since the beginning of this pandemic. So we know we are fulfilling His Holiness the Dalai Lama's wishes. So that increases our happiness. And then, as I said, as much as possible to stay with the visualization. Not just mindlessly reciting the mantra. Om tare tu tare tu es om tare tu tare es om tare tu. Om tare. Tare ture soha. We're very happy that we brought all sentient beings to the state of Aryatara. So we're surrounded by numerous green taras, all made of light, all acting and moving and being alive with all the qualities. And now from their hearts or from their bodies, the lights are coming back and absorbing into us and filling us with bliss and wisdom of all her sublime qualities, which is our own potential. So again, if you're convinced that you are Aryatara, you don't need to do this last step. But also it's also a sign that if you become a Buddha, then you're not totally alone. But these Buddhas, they're sending light to each other, and you go, oh, they're Buddhas, don't need to support them. No, but for the moment, because we still have this very strong clinging as being an ordinary being, now the light comes back from all these taras around us, blessing us. We feel supported and filled with this bliss and wisdom and compassion, which is our own potential. So it's nourishing our Buddha potential, this last step in the mantra recitation. From tare to so. And you will feel, it feels very good to receive all this from all the taras around. Sometimes it feels even, we settle into that role of, oh, I can't do anything, I just need help. It feels very comfortable to receive the wisdom and the love of Aryatara to nourish our potential. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Res Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Tare Tu Tare Tu Res Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Res Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Res. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Res Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Res Om Tare Tu Tare. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Res Ha. And to make this connection with the Guru really strong, again, from the Guru side, the connection is definitely there. So they always say, the Gurus, they can hook us with their compassion when we are in the bardo. But if we don't have the ring of devotion, then, it's like an egg that we try to catch with the hook. It's not possible. So we have to make this, by this reciting this verse here, then we make that ring. I mean, it's not on the head, but it's in the heart. But anyway, it's just symbolic. So please, root Guru, glorious and precious, remain upon the lotus at my heart, and looking after me through your great kindness, grant me siddhis of body, speech, and mind. So, but before we do the absorptions, then we do praises to the 21 Taras, for which we talked a little bit about yesterday. Yeah, so here, yeah, they're just in English, but I really like to chant them in Tibetan. So, they're here in Tibetan, sorry. Also, Nomi made a very nice kind of, you don't hear me? Is there a problem somewhere?
We can hear you.
We can hear. So Nomi made at one point, we have the Dharma friends have a, phonetics in Hebrew, but I think only printed. I don't know if they exist like digital. I don't know. But so anyway, just try to do your best, and by chanting them in Tibetan, it kind of has more effect on our subtle mind and inner energy, I think, if we chant them in Tibetan. Onche ma pama jumala chaselo chase German yuma pamo keni cheki lodan jama chingten sunge shuki shagi gesa chevale nichuma chase dunke dawa kuntu gawe gani shepe shama karma jupa sopana raptun cheve raparma chase seno chune keki peme chani nampagyama Chimpasa Dukatu Shiva, Sapasantencha Niyama, Chasende Shinche Petsuto, Diana Pagewachama, Maru para chimpato pe gewe seki shintu tema chasentu tara umi ke tudan chona nankangama chiktendo poshakine lupar me pargu parnyama chasenga chimela champa lulana tsovanu chama chumparo randisanam dana chita kintunitama chasenja chentanam para tu kora tu choma yaki yunki shakinente me patu pashintu barma chasentu rechi pachempo duki paonam pachoma shuke shene done dense tamutam chamalusama chasekan sosutanta Nangyama maruchaki kolobye perangiya kitsonam chuma chasera tugamachi pe ugene kichewa pe shepara chentutara idudan chingdewan yutsema chasesa shikyo etsonam dantingu panu panya Jone yowe ige huangi pampatan chenam pajama chaseda verdumbo ugen kempatan chenjintoba Renpe chana pamele tapashinto ratsema chaseke pedama meta pawe chevunane Yanki yonki kone korge chai punina pachoma chasesa shingala chaki ninginu kishagido Jonye den seige hoangi rimpatu ponam nige ama chasede mage mashima nyanende sinchanya So aum dayandan dempe di pachempo chompania ma chasekune korakawe jailo ninam pagema ige chukeng ike perimpaum le drama Chasedure shanida pe ungina persabania marira mandara dambiche chikten sona yawanya ma chasela itoina Vidata chenchana nama tarani chepeki ge tunamanu panisama chasela itonangel pola damiam chikitema kunego chagava chiki Tudamilam nyempasama chaseni madavagepe Teni puravara selma harani chutuntarai shintuda perimnesa Chasene nisonam kape shive tudayanande ma dundarola nuchitsona chompanture rachoniama tsavena kita patida chasevani nisusashi. Okay, then you can stretch again a little bit before we do the absorptions. It's a very important part in tantric practice to absorb everything into emptiness. So again, it's quite good if you feel relaxed to do that. And you can just meditate on it, or you can read whatever you prefer. And then we might get a taste of emptiness, not an intellectual understanding, but maybe a taste. The subtle mind kind of comes up and really understands something as an experience. But again, don't manipulate anything. Don't force anything. These things have to happen by themselves. Okay. So first you imagine that the entire universe dissolves into empty space. You place the planet, the galaxies, this universe and all beings in it, which we cling to as so real, as existing from its own side, just dissolves into vast and empty space, not one atom left. So you're still in the form of Aryatara. Then you think, the whole, everything around us, like a dream, kind of fading away, or the image on the screen when we watch a movie. So it just dissolves, and then it absorbs into the syllable tum in your heart. You can think that this syllable tum acts like a vacuum cleaner, just going and just drawing everything in, dissolving it. So we're not dissolving dependent existence, we're dissolving inherent existence. That's what appears to us. Separate from our mind, real, autonomous, inherently, without needing any causes and conditions, and especially not understanding that the way we see the universe, it depends on our mind. It depends on a mind that labels it, that sees it and labels it. Then things come into existence. All this dissolves. Then we dissolve the body, the basis of this I, the thing that we know most, identify with most. You imagine that from your feet up towards your heart chakra and from your crown down towards your heart chakra, it just dissolves. You feel that everything absorbs into your heart chakra. So these are, one does very precise meditations like this in highest yoga tantra. First, the universe absorbs into you, and the body from above and below, like it's working with energies. If you do Vajrayogini practice, then you know. But you don't have to be so precise. Just think, from above, the body dissolves also into light and absorbs into the heart chakra. Then from below, from the feet, dissolves into light, absorbs into heart chakra, because the body doesn't exist the way that we think it exists. So, so we have dissolved the gross body, but also the subtle body, like the channels and the chakras. This is also dissolved. So all that is remaining is the mind. And then you think, you dissolve your thoughts, these elaborate conceptual constructions, all the thoughts of I, which have no basis in reality, which are completely made up, a hallucination, as Lama Zopa says. All of it dissolves into empty space, not one atom left, zero. So maybe some of you are familiar with this now. What would be left is the seed syllable, and then that kind of dissolves, or like the syllable hung, and it dissolves in steps. The sharp Q into the A into the head, then the moon, then the tiglet and the nada, the bindu. So, but just think, if thoughts are now arising, you become aware of them. There is no separate I or me that has thoughts. The thoughts are just there. And we let them be like clouds in the sky. The sky is our nature, the empty nature of our mind. The conventional side, blissful, luminous, spacious, no beginning, no end. Free, peaceful. That's the conventional side. The ultimate side, it also doesn't exist from its own side. It's also a dependent arising. But just try to stay in that space. All that is left is your Lama Tara consciousness, very subtle, pure, as vast as space. And we can think, I am the Dharmakaya, but the I not separate from the Dharmakaya. You think, this is who I am. Feel completely blissful. This is your nature. Nothing to worry about. And you feel that you're in the nature of emptiness. Whenever thoughts arise or perceptions, just label them like clouds in the clear, empty, vast, luminous space, arising because of the mind, dissolving back into the mind. Clouds can exist because there is space, the sky. Sky is spacious. Perceptions, thoughts, emotions, sensations can arise because of consciousness, because of mind. They're not separate from it. They're just like the waves of the ocean. Most of it is water. So when we're just in the natural empty space, the ocean is very calm. Then through certain causes and conditions, the waves start to move. It's like the thoughts. They're not separate. And there's definitely no inherently existing I hanging somewhere to whom this is all happening. Now we feel like this. This I do admit. This is how it feels. But that's the mistake. And this is what we have to recognize. This is why we do this dissolution. I have dissolved the body. I have dissolved the conventional mind. How can I still have an I hanging somewhere? This independent, inherently, autonomously existing I. How can that be? So the mistake is still there, but we have to see it as a mistake. When an illusion appears, even though you recognize it as an illusion, the illusion is still there, or the appearance is still there, but you have recognized it as an illusion, and it loses its power over you. So all we have to understand here, this I that I still feel cannot exist the way that it appears. But then, because we want to be of benefit to others, out of compassion, we leave this space, this blissful, peaceful space of the Dharmakaya, and we manifest again in our body. And imagine that our mind is oneness with Mother Tara's mind, even though we have a totally ordinary body or an appearance of a totally ordinary body, but the mind is Tara's mind. And we try to keep that awareness for as long as possible as we go out and interact with others or do actions. And we make strong prayers that with this body and speech, we will benefit whichever sentient beings we come into contact with, human, animal, whatever, so that the purpose of our body and speech is only to benefit others. Very strong determination. Whatever I do, whoever sees, hears me, touches me, thinks about me, talks about me, smells me, whatever, remembers me, may it only be of benefit to them. That has to be our aspiration. Then we do the dedications. Through the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the precious body-mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus gone after 3 times, so that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. And then again, from the bottom of our heart, one thing is we know that we are fulfilling His Holiness the Dalai Lama's wishes by doing this practice. It will help the pandemic kind of short term. it will definitely help us to attain the full state of enlightenment, and which then also others will benefit if we have become enlightened spontaneously. So from the bottom of our heart, we wish His Holiness and all other teachers teaching the true path to full awakening a long, healthy, and stable life. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good, all-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. And the multiplying mantras and the longer dedication we do at the end of the day. Okay, thank you very much. Do you have questions? No? Okay, great. So then, so if you give me 2 minutes or something, then I will put these verses, the 8 verses, in the chat. You have to talk because I cannot talk and do this at the same time. So one of you has to tell a story that maybe you know, or an experience with Tara or during the practice or things like that. So then I can listen, but I cannot talk and find things on the computer at the same time. So who wants to tell a story about an experience you made through the Tara practice?
I should find. Here we have it.
So I tell you a story if you're not telling me any stories. Like during the Kala Chakra initiation in Tabo, I don't know if any of you have been there. That was in 2000. So I need to go. Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sabrina. Hope to see you again. Maybe we see each other in person at one point. Yeah. Maybe in Munich, you know, who knows? Now that I have a bit more time.
Thank you so much, Anila.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for participating. Nice to have you here. Okay. So there was this Kala Chakra initiation in Tabo, and Tabo is in Spiti, right? It's where Serkong Rinpoche comes from. He was very small at that time when we were there. So we went to kind of Ofurkata in his monastery there. So you have to cross passes, you know, and the roads are very narrow. And sometimes there's these overhanging, almost tunnels like a bit, you know, so that the buses just pass beyond it, you know, because the road has been carved into the rock. And below is the river. And below are a lot of like cars that have fallen down that are just slowly rotting away. So I think one Italian, also he's sitting in front next to the driver, and all of a sudden, you know, he starts to scream kind of, "Oh, Mamma Mia, this is dangerous." So he was calling his mom. So when the initiation was finished, the pass to go to Keelong was closed, the Kunzung pass. So of course everybody was waiting, and so you can imagine what happens when the pass opens. Everybody's running to the buses, and you know, filling them up and going on top of the buses. And there's all the luggage of the Tibetans who have their restaurants also, you know, the tents and the this and that. So we only had to go to Kasa, which is like maybe 2 hours. So I said, oh, okay, you know, why don't we go on top of the bus? We don't have to go so far, because waiting for a bus, because we were all Swiss and we're not used to fight, you know, for a space on the bus. So I said, oh, let's just go to the roof, because I didn't realize how dangerous it was. So I went on the roof with some others. And so there were some Israelis and there were some Tibetans and there were we Swiss on the roof. So the bus driver starts to drive. So you don't know if he remembers that there's people on top when he calculates, you know, they're going underneath in these tunnel things. So we were really frightened. I had my knee, which was kind of hanging out, because I couldn't pull it in because also the top of the bus was so full. So I was really frightened, and the others also. So the Israelis, I think they started to tell each other dirty jokes, you know, in order to get rid of the fear. And the Tibetans started to recite the 21 Taras. And then I thought, oh, what a good idea. So I just started to recite with them, and then the fear slowly went, and there was no accident, nothing happened. But it definitely liberates you from the fear where you can't do anything. I couldn't stop the driver. I couldn't go down. We just were stuck up there. So when it says she liberates you from fear, so by reciting the 21 taras or just the Tara mantra, it was really helpful.
I have a really similar story.
Okay, please.
I just moved here moved back to Israel after 27 years in the United States, and I never driven in Israel before.
Oh, yeah.
So I started driving, all these cars. I become, I'm not used to Israeli drivers, and and the other drivers, they can feel that you're anxious.
Yeah.
So they start, almost, getting really close to you and become really aggressive, and so I start chanting the mantra, and I don't know if it's my car's body language changes or it actually works, but the cars, they just give me more space. I was able, the first few weeks I was just driving and chanting until I got used to it.
Yeah, exactly. So, use her power, use her mantra, use her energy when things are getting tight. It's really nice. Okay. Thank you, Nirit. So whenever you feel frightened in Israel to whatever, then recite Tara. So the situations will not change so much, but you will be more calm to deal with it. That's, or the situation changes also. I don't know if I told you the story, because we did 21 Tara retreat in Graz just before, I think it was in July or August or something. And they have a huge stupa in town. And it needs to be renovated because it's 20 years old, and it costs 100,000 euro to renovate it because it's really big. And, there's a small group. How are they going to get 100,000 euro? So while we're at the end of the Tara retreat, Manfred gets a phone call from the city of Graz who says, oh, by the way, we decided to pay for the renovation. The city will pay for the renovation. So, and other things really in their family, because the whole family had quite a bit of problems, and they decided to, all of them, participate in the Tara retreat. Him, his ex-wife, and the 2 daughters, and his new partner. And almost miraculous things happened, I tell you. So it was, and they all said, wow, the energy in the family has shifted so much, So, and it was only 4 days. 4 days and a Tara night. Yeah.
I will tell you a story about Garten Rinpoche when he was in Israel in 2015 on the way to the airport. Some of the organizing, not me, decided to stop somewhere and not ask Rinpoche. And usually you don't do that. Mm-hmm. So Rinpoche asked to stop the car. They didn't communicate with him that it's going to happen. And Rinpoche said, stop the car. He took Tara picture and put on the shield of the car, like on the mirror, mirror. Yeah. And like this, okay, we all look, and I said, oh, wow, okay, what's gonna happen? Anyway, that's just whatever. So we drive in on the freeway, 6 route, very fast. And Micha, the husband he's driving, and he's a very good driver. In the middle of that, somebody decided to drive like this, in the middle, like this. Wow. So the whole car was screaming because Micha did like this.
Yeah, right.
And that Rinpoche said, Tara saved my life 7 times. That was the 8th.
Okay. Yeah.
So very clearly, it was kind of like, okay, so there is situation. Yeah. The only thing we can do now is pray for Tara.
Exactly.
And she saved us.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
And it was like this. Anyway.
Yeah. So it's very nice. Another story where I used her mantra in ancient times in India. In ancient times, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Whatever electronic thing you would bring into India, because people brought it from the West and sold it there, it had to be marked on your passport, so that when you go out, they make sure that you're taking it out again. So, you know, we had these cassette recorders to record the teachings, but the Indian ones are totally useless. They don't work and they break down. So I was going to Switzerland. So people asked me to buy some for them from from the class in the library. So I think I had about 5 tape recorders. And I also had decided to give away my camera and all the objectives and all this, because I was a nun. We didn't want to walk around with this very expensive camera, to give it to the photographer in Dharamsala. So I had my camera, who is worth, I don't know, 2,000 or even more. Yeah, probably more euros, plus these 5 tape recorders. And I thought I put them in the hand luggage because it's not a problem. You know, going in, they won't say anything. Going out, they are not scanning it. And what is happening in Delhi at the airport, as I want to go out, they're scanning the hand luggage. So I went like, oh gosh, you know what I'm going to do? So I thought, okay, I'll recite Tara. So there's 2 guys standing there kind of looking at the screen. And I recite Tara mantra. The moment my bag went through, they looked at each other and started talking to each other. They didn't look at the screen. My bag went through and then they looked at the screen again. Coincidence? Maybe, I don't know. But definitely you can make use of her, you know, that's what she's here for. It's like, otherwise she's like, you know, I mean, she won't be disappointed, but it's the same for us. We want to help, we can help, but the people say, no, I don't need any help. It's silly, it's stupid. And she is the best help we can get anyway, if we have the karma to be helped. So be careful, she's not a miracle maker. We need to have the karma to be helped also, which we definitely have, because we have a lot of positive karma. Okay, so now we make a break until almost half an hour. Yeah, is that right? Until 1/4 past your side. What is it? Yours? 12:15.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.